In our last video, we finally poured the concrete bond beam on our hyperadobe roundhouse. This was the culmination of months of planning, weeks of building forms, and then it all came down to a frantic 2 hours while the pump truck was here. Thankfully, everything went smoothly, and now we're back to see how it turned out and start removing the forms. Oh, hey everybody, we're back.
It's time to take these forms off, and I'm a little nervous.
Oh no, I think this will be fine. We've given it a while to cure, and we actually had a really good rain like a day or two after we poured this. It was like perfect timing. Yeah. As you can see, this is not pretty concrete.
We didn't need to trowel the top because of how we're going to be building up on this, so...
Right, we're going to have to build up in between our bar joists, so having this be a lumpy, non-flat surface is perfectly okay. It'll just give it something to key into. We got to take all this apart, and so we've got a ton of screws to take out, a ton of nuts and washers. We're going to keep all the hardware. I don't know how useful this wood is going to end up being. I mean, I think a lot of this concrete should just come off of it. Biggest thing is we want to see what the plates look like, where the bar joists are going to go.
That, and we also need to cut the all thread as we're removing this.
I don't know. We're just gonna, we're out here this afternoon. We're going to do a little bit of this and just kind of see how it goes. We don't know. Never done this before. Should be fun.
It's going to be perfect. We were so nervous when the pump truck got here because we were like, bracing ourselves for there's going to be some leakage. There always is with form work, but there's only one leak that we've seen so far, and let me show you where it is. Right there.
Ready? Off she goes.
That's pretty nice.
Pretty nice. Look at that.
Inside my soul, that compass tells me where to go. Everything I touch turns to gold. It's automatic on the road. Let's ignite this feeling. Gotta let it out. Dancing on the ceiling won't come down. How about that? Bring it on back.
So all the washers that kind of sucked into the wood, some of them like actually indented into the wood a little bit, and they're hard to get off. So I'm going to try to grab like a little tiny flathead screwdriver so we can just pop them off. Have we mentioned how awesome it is to have kids who are super helpful and capable? Have they ever removed a bond beam form before? Nope, but they caught on in no time. You under it? There you go. Hey! Just drop it down to Mont.
This way, I'll grab it.
There we go.
Sending a red alert. You know how to make it hurt. Gave you a dime, go buy you some time. Maybe I lived by then. The timer is going off. Goodness, was this one rough? I gave you a chance to make me feel safe. Chocolate kisses, honey hugs, set you free but feel like drugs. Maybe if I trusted you, I'd stay. Smile that can hold a prayer. Wish to God that you were there. You're not worth the trouble.
that was a pretty good first run, taking these forms off of the bond beam. And I gotta say, bond beam actually looks pretty good. Like, I wasn't really sure what to expect when we took it off. But man, like, especially stepping back away from it, it really levels out the tops of these walls, makes them nice and clean, and they're plumb, and like it really does look like it's going to be a nice cap that's going to serve as a perfect foundation for the roof. So yeah, we're going to spend the next several days doing this. This is going to take a long time. It's not necessarily difficult, it's just a whole lot of steps. So that's what we're doing the next couple of days. Get ready, here we go.
We are about to enter a very busy season here on the homestead with multiple events over the next several months, people coming to visit, and baby goats due in March. So just imagine how excited I was when my Wildgrain box showed up and I was able to stock my freezer with delicious bread. Thanks to Wildgrain for sponsoring today's video. Wildgrain is the first Bake from Frozen subscription box. You can customize your box to fit your needs and choose from things like sourdough bread, pasta, and pastries. They even have gluten-free and vegan box options. You guys all know how much I love baking things from scratch, like bread and pasta and so much more. But during this season, it's so nice that I can just grab a loaf of bread out of my freezer, pop it in the oven for 25 minutes or less, and we're good to go. Plus, it's just an added bonus that I can read all of the ingredients. This sourdough bread has organic unbleached wheat flour, water, and salt. You can't get better than that. With every box ordered, Wildgrain will donate 2 meals to a food security nonprofit of your choice at checkout. This makes me so happy to work with companies that give back to their community. Alright, the bread has 4 more minutes to go, so we're going to get the stove on and get my skillet heated up so I can fry some eggs. I've smashed some avocado, and we're going to make some really good avocado toast. The hardest part about all of this is we're supposed to wait on this to cool down, but does anybody actually do that? I'm trying really hard, but it's not going to happen. If you too would like to try Wildgrain, just go to the link in the description or visit wildgrain.com/tinyshinyhome and use the code tinyshinyhome to save $30 off your first box. Plus, you get free croissants for life. Yes, yes please. Now, let's get back to work.
All right, day 2 of form deconstruction for the bond beam. We've done it a little bit, so here's the process for disassembling this stuff off the wall. So the first is we take impacts, we undo the screws that are holding in these 2x. We kind of take all these off, and then any screws that are left on the face, so there's these plates that hold the 2 sections of plywood together. They have a ton of screws on them, so we take all those screws off, and then if there is a sorry, there's a lot of stuff here. The plates, which is where the bar joists are going to sit, they're screwed in from the front and the back, and so we want to make sure we take all those screws off. Then there's the all thread that's at the bottom run through, so we take our socket, pull those off, we pull the washers off, and then it's just a matter of peeling this plywood off of the all thread. So you usually start from the furthest, pull it out, Crowbars, pry bars, they all help a lot. And then once we're done with that, if there's a plate like there is right here, then we have to try to get that to pop up out of the concrete and to remove it. But otherwise, like, it's coming off. We didn't put any releasing agent on this, and it all seems like it's coming off fine. It's just slow going. It's not hard work. It's just repetitive work. Outer wall is done, except for the ends. We'll get to those later. We know from experience that the inner circle was the most difficult wall because the radius is so tight. So I think we're gonna go work on the hardest one next. That way, after that, it'll be easier. That's my, I wanna end on a positive note and not on a curse the wall note. That does mean 2 double scaffolds, one inside, one outside. We'll have to take apart that whole section up near the I-beam. Yeah, we got to build some scaffold. That's what we got to do. So I kind of missed this whole situation here. Ashley's dad built it while I was working on some of other part of the farm. Pretty crazy looking. And I definitely overfilled it. That's on me. It's a little full in this area. I think this was the first wall we did with the pump truck. And I was definitely going, like, I couldn't figure out how to control it and not overfill it. We did better on the other walls, but there's too much concrete right here for sure, and here and there. So you probably remember we set this big I-beam across here. We did that because we have at least one bar joist that's going to hit outside of the earthbag walls. We didn't want to put a post in, but putting this across here, we wanted to make sure it was tied into the actual bond beam. So we drilled into this I-beam, we put nuts and washers on it, and we tied it in with all thread, and then we bent that all thread and tied it into the existing rebar that was going to be part of the bond beam. So having this all concreted in with the rebar that was already in here and the all thread, really this is actually the only fully enclosed section of the roundhouse that the bond beam is connected on all sides. You know, the other bond beams stop at the ends of the straight walls, but this one continues all the way around. So this is the strongest, which is good because it's got the most sort of weight on it from all these bar joists. They're all a lot closer together, and this is where all the wind comes through here. So we want to make sure it was extra beefy. So now we need to undo this whole situation, which should be fun because I didn't build it and I don't know how it went together.
Do you have safety glasses on? There's a screw.
I don't think it's attached to anything.
There's a screw right there.
It might be attached to the bag. Maybe that's...
Can you hit it?
It's like... Huh. Jeez. I feel like are we missing a screw?
No, it's just...
Yeah, can you rip the bag off the phone?
There's something right here. Feels weird. Hold on. Oh, it got into the bag, that's why. Yeah, we need to like cut it. Some of you may be a little confused about the bond beam. I know some people were wondering if the wood forms would stay in place. Obviously not, we're taking them off. Those forms were just built so that we could put the concrete inside them. Once the concrete cures, we don't need them anymore. But probably the bigger question is, why is there a bond beam to begin with? Well, look, earthbag walls are great, they're super strong, but we are going to be setting these huge beams, like they're going to be 40 feet long in some places, on that pitched roof. And we really want a way to mount those beams to a mechanically bonded, super strong section of the wall. Now, if it was a smaller building, sure, we could just set it on the wall, we could cleat it in, we could make it work, but some of these spans are just too big, and with everything being metal, we want to make sure this thing is going to last for generations, right? Another benefit is that by putting that rebar cage inside the bond beam and tying it to the bags below, now we have increased the strength and the structural rigidity of all of the earthbag walls, which is just an added bonus. Now, if you want to learn more about earthbag safety, we do have the hyperadobe Safety and Design 101 class that's coming up February 28th and March 1st. Day one is going to be a class teaching all of the core earthbag concepts that we could possibly cram into a morning session. It's going to be about 3 hours of teaching and illustrations and examples, and then we'll have lunch available for purchase, and then we will take a field trip to our homestead where you can look at the hyperadobe roundhouse in person. You can see how all the bags and the walls are all connected together. You can ask all the questions you want and get a really good sort of first person perspective of how these walls should be going together. On the second day, you'll have the option to come back and we'll do one-on-one consulting for your specific design project, which is really cool. If you already have ideas, you can bring them or you can draw them up on the day. We'll look at everything, we'll offer suggestions. And so we just want to make sure that this community has the tools they need to build the safest earthbag buildings possible. You can go to tinyshinyhome.com/events, click on hyperadobe 101, and you can sign up there. I really think this is going to be a great opportunity to learn everything you need to know to keep your earthbag building safe while you're in the early planning stages. Now, let's get back to that bond beam. Man, I really made a mess here, didn't I?
Why is it so messy?
Well, see, there was a big tube of concrete, and it was coming out really
Listen, it was
fast.
coming out as slow as it could.
Yeah, and it was dropping
So-
from like how many feet up?
I still think you could have done this a little neater.
Well, this was the first one. And so it's super messy.
So this is the worst one.
Yes.
The other ones
Did
do
not
look
know
way
what
better.
we were doing. Yeah. Definitely some sloppiness. But yeah, he was saying what we could even do is like weld a clip on each one so that when you set them down, the clip would keep it from like sliding. That way you could just set them up there. You could set one, then set the next one.
That's so that we don't have to go like right away and put all the seat purlins up.
He said you just need like 1 or 2 stringers to keep it from moving, and then
Yeah.
you just keep going all the way. I feel like once you're just setting stuff in place and just connecting it, it's not that hard. It's just really time consuming. Because once you got it up there, like it all goes where it's supposed to go. Who's going to sort through all this hardware and reorganize it?
You?
Sounds like an Adelaide job to me.
Can you hold the end of that?
Okay, I'm going to grind off this stuff.
Okay.
And we'll
Well,
move
can I
down.
get down before you start doing that? end of the day and we had a fun surprise. This is the second set of scaffolding that has broke. We've moved this form material. This is the second time now. So we're gonna have to replace all the sawhorses. Like, it's always something. For another day of taking these forms off from the bond beam. We got so spoiled with having so much good help for the bond beam project, like getting the rebar in and the forms built, and it poured. Now it's just us, so we have to, it's just going to take some time to get all these forms off. It's kind of a slow, fiddly process, but we're getting it done one day at a time. Just for a little reference, that bedroom area took us about an hour to get all those forms off. And Jonathan still has one more plate to knock out and another piece of wood to take off on that side. But we're gonna go ahead and break down another scaffolding, get it in here in the kids area, and I'll start taking all these out.